The year is 1943 and the world is at war. In the Atlantic Ocean, there's a long battle going on. The Allies' Navy versus the German U-boats. The famous long battle that took place in the Atlantic is called the Battle of the Atlantic. This is considered one of the longest battles in World War II, and more than 100,000 soldiers from both sides died. You could say in this battle, the German U-boats did a lot more damage than the Allies, and 3,500 Allied ships was destroyed, and the Germans only lost about 783 U-boats. On the east coast of the United States, in the port of Philadelphia, there is a secret project going on. This project is famous for the Philadelphia experiment, and this is one of those conspiracies that nobody can deny it or say it was a fact. At that time, the US Navy was building a new destroyer, and it was called the USS Eldridge. On this ship, they were using a very secretive technology that nobody knew about. The name of this technology was called electric field manipulation, and I'm not really sure what they meant by that. But it kinda means disappearing. There was a plan to make the ship disappear. On July 22nd, 1943, tens of people reported that the USS Eldridge destroyer disappeared in front of their eyes. There was no real proof what happened, but a lot of people reported seeing a ship disappear. Not only did the people in the port see it disappear, but people on the nearby ships reported that as well. From that second on, conspiracy theories started flowing in. When an astronomer by the name of Morris K. Jessup heard about the Philadelphia experiment, he let go of everything he was searching for and put 100% of his time into this conspiracy theory. He was one of the first people that started the conspiracy theories about this ship. But since his country, the USA, was at war, he didn't really want to pump conspiracy theories about his country and the Navy ship. And that is why he kind of stopped focusing on that and started writing UFO books. But on the side, he would still work and see what happened to the USS Eldridge. In the year 1959, when everything calmed down, he tells one of his buddies that tomorrow I'm gonna talk about what happened to the USS Eldridge on that day in 1943. But he doesn't see the next day. His dead body was found in a car where a hose was connected to the exhaust pipe while the car was running, and he basically suffocated to death. At that time, the people that didn't believe the disappearance of this ship started believing it. The people that claimed to seen the ship disappear in front of their eyes, they never came forward to say what actually happened. The only information that came out was conspiracy theories, theories that didn't make sense. But nobody really paid attention. Once in a while a conspiracy theory would pop up, then people would forget. But in the year 1984, the Philadelphia experiment really pops off, because this is the year the movie of the Philadelphia experiment comes out. As you know, most movies are fake, but after watching this movie, one of the people that claimed to have seen the ship disappear came forward to tell his story on what happened. Al Bielak, a person who allegedly saw the ship disappear. Obviously, he would tell stories that seemed very fake. Al Bielak believed the ship would teleport, not disappear. And that was the main reason the Allies won World War II. After this conversation, Al Bielak really took a turn, and he would tell the most crazy stories. So crazy that it was hilarious. One of the things he would say is that he could time travel to the year 2137. This story made people not even believe his Philadelphia experiment story. I don't really know what happened to this guy, but every day he would create a new story. Some time passes and he comes back and says, I was actually on the ship when it happened. He said when the ship disappeared, we felt like we were inside a cloud. Then all of a sudden, in a blink of an eye, we were in the middle of the ocean. The news reporter asked him, why did you take this long to come forward and tell these stories? Al Bielak says, I forgot everything, but when I saw this movie, everything came back to me. around those years, news reporters really wanted to interview him, not to get actual information. They just wanted to create funny news and basically clickbait the viewers. And Al Bielak would not disappoint because he had funny stories about every situation. In the year 1994, another astronomer comes forward by the name of Jacques F. Vallée. He writes a paper by the name of the Philadelphia Experiment 50 years later. In his report, he says every conspiracy theory about this experiment, and he asks people that knew anything about this experiment. Different types of people would contact him, but none of them were serious. Until one serious caller came that actually worked for the US Navy at the time, and he actually worked on USS Eldridge. A person by the name of Edward Dudgeon, and he says, "I read your article and I have some information for you." Edward says these are all stories. The thing that the US Navy was doing is running wires all around the ship, wire that was anti-magnetic, and this caused the ship to not attract mines in the seas. At that time, the US Navy would call this situation disappearing the ship, but they didn't mean literally disappearing in front of your own eye, disappearing against mines. The Navy ship workers would hear these stories and they would see the wires being ran through the ship, and they would create rumors about it and say the US Army is creating ships that actually disappear. These false stories go all around the world. This is a reasonable story, but the conspiracy theorists never believe any of it, and they believe they are all lying and the stories we've been telling you is all true, and they did actually make the ship go invisible. And that was the main reason the Allies won the war, because they would have gotten crushed if it wasn't for that. They create all types of stories, and they say the person that came forward about the cable running through the ship is one of them, and he's lying. And this is exactly why the Philadelphia experiment is a conspiracy theory, like a lot of other things, like the Nazi time machine Die Glocke, which we already made a video about. What do you guys think? Do you think this was the ship that won World War II for the Allies? Please comment.